I'm going to read a quote by Tyrese Haliburton. I think it's a stupid rule, like plenty of the guys in the league, but this is what the owners want. So as players, we got to do our job and play in 65 games if we are able to. So that's what I got to do. Take care of my body to be able to play in those games. And I think you're seeing other players in the league kind of face the same thing as long as the owners are happy. So this was Tyrese Haliburton being upset that he has to play 65 games to make the All NBA team. And some of you might be wondering, why does Tyrese Haliburton care so much about making the All NBA team? And the reason for that is because he's scheduled to make $200 million over his 4 or 5 year contract. But if he makes the All NBA team, that increases to $240 million. So he's very upset that he will lose that amount of money. Even when you factor in, if he misses out, he's going to get immediately $200 million. I say that sarcastically. So in either scenario, this guy is making astronomical money, even compared to players of the past. When you adjust for inflation from the 90s or 00s, he's beating inflation when you look at his contract. So I can't feel any empathy for these guys for having to play 65 games. If anything, I feel this shows really how entitled these players are today, that they feel that they don't have to play in a lot of games anymore to win major awards such as All NBA teams, Defensive Player of the Year, League MVP. To me, that's really absurd. I just remember during the 90s growing up, and I remember Michael Jordan would always play somewhere around 80 to 82 games per year. Every year he was playing during the 90s, a full season. He would play nearly the whole entire season. Let me just even look up Michael Jordan right now to see how many games he played every year during the 90s. So if you look at it, Michael played 82 games his first 2 years in the 90s, 1990, 91, 82 games apiece. 90, 91, 92, 80 games, 78 games. So this guy played 80 or more games every year in the 90s if you look it up, except for the 92-93 season where he just played 78 games. That to me is ridiculous. I want to look up some other MVP players of the 90s, how many games they played during that era, especially when they won their league MVP award. So you look at a guy like Dave Robinson. He never played less than 68 games. He had 1 year where he played 68 games. That was the 91-92 season. But he had several years where he played 82 games, and only 1 year where he really didn't play at all, and that was that year where he got a serious injury and missed the whole entire year, and the Spurs ended up with Tim Duncan. So you look at that. Let's look up another guy who won the MVP during the 90s, Karl Malone. How many games did he play? So Karl Malone was a real Iron Man. This guy played 80 or more games every year, every year of the 90s. It's really absurd. And even when he got old, he was playing 80 games or more. You know, people like to hype up LeBron as an Iron Man, but this guy was playing like 80 games when he was like 40 years old. That's really absurd. LeBron can't even match that. So you gotta respect that. And let's look up even Charles Barkley. This guy, how many games did this guy play when he won the MVP? Let's just look him up. Charles Barkley. I'm looking him up right now. Charles only had 2 seasons during the 90s where he played 65 games or less, and Charles Barkley was a very injury-prone player. 93-94, he played 65 games, and the 96-97 season, he played 53 games. So you just look at that, you just shake your head, just the absurdity of these young players, that they're just very entitled, and they believe just everything should be given to them. Granted, everything is pretty much already given to them when you think about their salary, their ridiculous endorsement deals. This is what produces their laziness, I feel, and just a sense of entitlement. And I know some people will argue for the players, well, they need to rest to prevent injuries. And what about their future career earnings? My comeback to that is that they're already making a ton of money. What they're getting now is the reason why they can risk injury. You're getting astronomical wealth that if you save it right, you're pretty much good. There's a reason why you're getting this money. It's to play. It's to cover you even when you get hurt. And on top of that, even when you get hurt, some team will take a chance on you during free agency to overpay you. We've seen this too many times now. So I just don't buy into that nonsense. It's really terrible for the league. It's terrible for the fans when they want to pay money to see these players play and they don't play due to just sitting out a game just for resting. That's a bunch of bullshit. I've suffered from it this year when I paid money to see Victor show up in Charlotte and I got robbed. So yeah, I'm definitely against this bullshit of them trying to play less games. If I had it my way, I would make it a minimum of 70 games that these guys would have to play to get awards. That would even cut down even more on this load management bullshit. So that's how I feel about this.